During periods of a slow market, such as this, the one we are experiencing right now, many so-called developers come with ideas that are really geared towards short-term dopamine and geared towards short-term gratification. And it's done by design, because right now the markets are just sideways. There's no excitement in the market at all. There's no excitement in the crypto industry. So there's some individuals that take advantage of situations like this. And one of those advantages have been the prediction markets. Prediction markets have been really taking off, and they hit record in trading volume. However, because everybody wants a piece of this during a downturn like we are experiencing right now, it's been it's getting fragmented, meaning like there's just so many participants that want a piece of this, and eventually it's also, this prediction market's also turning the industry into something that is more like a coin toss, like a casino. And is this really the end game? Let's look at this topic today, and let's hopefully have a takeaway of what's being discussed here. And hopefully by the end of today's session, we'll understand not only what the prediction market is, but what it causes, what it's meant to do, understand that it's just for dopamine and short term, and also Vitalik's input, what he thinks about the prediction markets, and a proposal that he put out through a tweet of what he thinks we as an industry should move from prediction markets, or leverage this, but to have a whole different focus using it. With that said, let's kick start into today's session. So prediction markets is hitting record high trading volumes. So let's look at that. Let's look at this article, a few of it. So prediction markets hit weekly record trading volume just last week. And traders are increasingly moved to bet on major political events, crypto-related outcomes, and sports market, right? So the largest prediction market that we know of, that is the most famous, is poly market, of course, right? So the growing activity reflects rising interest in event-based trading across multiple sectors. However, this rapid expansion also brought renewed concerns over market fragmentation and insider trading. So these are the challenges that we're faced with. But there's actually 3 challenges. Besides the fragmentation and the potential inside trading, there's a third one, but we'll close out with that on this article. What I want us to also understand is that besides the high volume, I need us to paint a picture here that in 2021, the markets that literally led retailers into the largest bull cycle yet was meme coins and NFTs. But this prediction market actually outpaced the volume, the trading volume of both of them. So this is just to paint a picture of how large this market really is. And it's as large as 5.5 billion in weekly trading volume. That's a lot for a small niche yet. That's a lot. So with that in mind, let's start looking at some challenges that we faced with here. Let's look at some challenges that we're facing with here. And to do that, we have to come right here. So beyond the retail users right now, like we had, the first challenge is fragmentation, meaning too many people want to get involved. The second challenge we had is that besides the fragmentation is the potential inside trading. And then finally is liquidity. Well, those are the 3 challenges. So let's start with the first one, fragmentation. So beyond retailers, you and I, major industry players are moving also to capitalize on the trend, right? So whenever you hear capitalizing, that means there are winners and losers, but we'll get to that. So who are these potential large industry players? Coinbase. Coinbase reportedly is also preparing to launch its own prediction market, right? And also, besides Coinbase, Gemini, they also got already approval to begin offering prediction markets to US customers. And surprise, Trump himself, the sitting US president, his company is also in partnership with crypto.com. They also want a fan-led prediction market platform. So you see that this is what it means like being fragmented. And these are just the large players. Retailers are involved as well. And there are winners and losers. In betting, somebody has to lose because it's me betting against you. So it's either you are right or I am right. But one of us is going to lose. So in order to have winners, there has to be losers. Let's keep this in mind. So that's the first challenge, right? So we see how fragmentation, and that's a big concern. Another also is concern is that some experts are raising the concern that the surge in this prediction market, is this really the end game for our sector? Is this really how we picture the blockchain technology to be used and to be viewed as? Is this really the end game that the crypto industry is all about? Just about predictions in sports, politics, and crypto bets, and that's it? So we're turning it into a casino. Is this really the end game? Because this is what currently right now brings the highest volume and is the most used, is more traded than meme coins and NFTs right now. So, and another thing that final challenge, and actually the biggest challenge facing prediction markets, is liquidity. This should not be a surprise. It should not be a surprise, because we need to understand that what drives economies is liquidity. And if you can find a way to bring in liquidity to an ecosystem, then you're literally going to win. So the challenges with prediction markets are, first of all, fragmentation. There's too many players involved. Like this individual said here, all this will incentivize is just a ton of zero liquidity markets. People are spamming, right? And the winners will be just the creators that are fighting over fees from all the trading volume. So there will be winners and losers. But beyond the fragmentation and the liquidity, there's also, of course, inside trading. So those with information, those who are actually in the know-how. And if you know that, you can set up, you can be the creator of that bet and put it out there. And because you're already knowledgeable about the outcome, you have the information, you're already literally set to win. So if you can bring participants in, you have the upper hand. So besides the fragmentation, there's potential insider trading for those who already have the information. And then, of course, the liquidity is the largest, right? Liquidity is the biggest challenge right now. That's the biggest challenge. Liquidity remains the biggest challenge facing prediction markets. So let's keep those three in mind. And now let's move from here and go to Vitalik's post. I really, really appreciate this post from Vitalik. He likes to write a lot. Like, he has like big posts, but if you look at it clearly, you really understand a lot what he's trying to say. So Vitalik posted this actually yesterday, February 14th. So, and what he's saying, based on what we also saw, he's talking about recently, I have been starting to worry about the state of prediction market. And I'm sure most of us, now that we've gone through it briefly and understand the situation we're in, we can relate to his worry. So in their current form. So in the current form, he's worried about the prediction markets. So they have achieved a certain level of success through volume that is extremely high to make meaningful bets and have a full-time job as a trader. And they have been proven useful as a supplement to other forms of news and media, right? However, they seem to be over-converging to an unhealthy product market fit, embracing short-term cryptocurrency price bets, sports betting, and other similar things that have dopamine value, but not any kind of long-term fulfillment in societal information value. So he's saying the same thing. It's like, yes, the volume is high, participation is high. However, it's just meets the short-term dopamine, but it doesn't have that long-term fulfillment in value. So his guess is that teams feel motivated to get into this. Capitulate just means fall into this or go all in on this, or do this. Do these things because they bring in large revenue during a bear market, right? Just like we just discussed. So where people are desperate, it's an understandable motive. However, one that leads to corposlop. This is a term that Vitalik himself coined. And let's understand it before we move on. What does he mean with corposlop? So corposlop, what he means, the term coined by Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin, that refers to a combination of corporate optimization. Don't worry, I'll break it down. Slick branding and unethical practices to maximize profits. So basically, corporate optimization, these are public figures, politicians, celebrities that are endorsing and talking about something in particular. Slick branding, this marketing, is used for unethical practices to extract value or to maximize profits for those who are setting this system up. So basically what this is talking about, let's get started to it. It's something that seems in the outside, it appears stylish and trustworthy. It has the appearance of it, but one that can inherently exploit the user. So basically what he's saying is that prediction markets are good, high volume. It feeds the dopamine and the short-term craving. However, in the long term, it doesn't meet the requirement that this industry was meant to be in the first place. This can't be the end game. And it serves to exploit certain users. It seems stylish and fun and trustworthy. It has the appearance of it, but it's literally exploiting some or most of the users. And basically what he's saying is that it also challenges the autonomy of the users, in contrast to giving them sovereignty. Like sovereignty just means gives them the autonomy, like the freedom to pick on their own. So this process lacks transparency and may misuse user data and interests. So basically what he's saying is that that's what it means with corposlop. That's the word he means. So let's keep this in mind. It might seem stylish and trustworthy in appearance. However, it's literally exploiting the users, the participant. So this is what he means. Let's go back to the article. This is what he means with, yes, it gives you a quick dopamine shot, but it does not meet any kind of long-term fulfillment in value. And this is exactly for people that are really desperate right now. And you're desperate if you lose faith, if you lose patience, if you start being anxious, you become desperate and you start making moves or be part of things that are actually just not going to benefit you, are here to exploit you. And desperate people are the easiest to exploit. That's a matter of fact. So that's basically what he means. So he's saying that he's been thinking about how he can help the prediction market out of this situation. And TLDR for him is, we are going to replace fiat currency. This is a bold statement. And now I really want to make this clear. This is not like going anarchy and just, saying fiat is bad, is evil. He's proposing an idea, a system, an asset that once established, you won't require to hold fiat anymore. Let's look deeper into this. This is deep what he's talking about here. So first of all, let's look at the prediction markets again. There are two types of actors in the prediction markets. The first type is the smart one, the really smart trader that has the knowledge, the understanding, the information, and they are here to make money, right? They are the ones that are making money. And then necessarily there's the second type, and these are some kind of actor who lose money. So it's me against you. In order for you to win, I have to lose. In order for me to win, you have to lose. So that's the game that is being played right now. And those that are informed, are in the know-how, have the information, they're the ones that are making money. And we all know that the majority don't have that information. They don't even take the time to get informed and to understand. So they're in the losing team right now. But then he goes and asks, but who would be willing to lose money and keep coming back? And there basically there's an answer to this as well. Who wants to keep losing money and keep coming back? And these are not my words. This is Vitalik saying, naive traders, people with dumb opinions, right? Who bet on totally wrong things. And who are these people? These are people that are extremely desperate. They're very desperate. And people who are desperate are the perfect fit for those who are taking advantage of them. And that's what's happening right now. Basically, that's what he's saying. So let's move on. And I want us to really understand this. Now, let's get to a more fascinating example. He asks a question here that is very interesting. What do people who want stablecoins ultimately want? Very legitimate question. They want price stability. They want stability. Whoever holds stablecoin means I am tired of all this volatility. I just want stability. So they have some future expenses in mind. This is another thing. So they want everybody of us, like we all have our expenses, right? Daily expenses. And they want a guarantee that we'll be able to pay those expenses. So basically what he's saying is that there's three things that people want that are actually are holding stablecoins. They want stability, for one. And besides that, they have expenses in mind that they have to pay, they have to spend. And also they want a guarantee that these expenses are going to get paid. So how do you achieve that? You can't achieve that on top of a US-backed stablecoin, because crypto is ultimately not truly decentralized if you do that. And also, if you do it, put it on the back of a USD-backed or any other fiat, it's inflationary. And you won't meet or have the guarantee to be able to pay these things back because fiat is inflationary. But let's continue. Furthermore, different people have different types of expenses. And there has been lots of thinking about making an ideal stablecoin that is based on some decentralized global price index. But let's not get into technicals here. And he's saying here about what if the real solution is to go a step further and get rid of the concept of currency altogether. So what if we remove the idea of or the concept of currencies altogether? So let's understand what he's talking about here. And this is his idea. Here's the idea. Keep in mind, he wrote this article just yesterday, just a few hours ago, less than 12 hours ago, actually. So you have a price index. So basically what he says here, you want to have a service that people actually want to buy. And if we go here, this is it. What you need right now is an asset that is not fiat. Now is not needed right now. It's not needed at all. That's what he's saying. Now we do not need fiat currency at all. You need an asset, right? You can hold stocks, ETH, or whatever that grows your wealth. So what you need to right now is an asset that literally grows your wealth. What else? How do you hold an asset that grows your wealth? First of all, an asset that grows your wealth needs to be an asset that people actually want to hold. That's the number one requirement. An asset that people want to hold. An asset that is actually interest bearing. One that gives you yield, one that gives you cash flow, one that gives you staking rewards. And then most importantly, it's supposed to be sustainable. It's supposed to be sustainable. And beyond that, it's one that in the long term, people are happy to hold and buy. You want an asset that people are happy to buy and hold in the long term. And once you can achieve that, now the large volume and the liquidity, which is capital, will be willing. Those who are bringing the volume and liquidity will be willing to participate. Let's look at this again, community. What he's saying. He's basically saying that if you have an asset, and this asset that you're having, people actually want to hold it. This is something that actually people want to hold. And let's start from here. You need an asset that people actually want to hold, number one. And you want an asset that actually grows your wealth. And this asset that people want to hold and that is growing your wealth also gives you interest. And it does so in a sustainable manner. And if you can build and develop an asset that gives you that stability and that mix of qualities, one that grows your wealth, one that you want people to hold, people are happy to hold, and one that bears interest, gives you staking rewards sustainably in a sustainable manner, and one that you are happy to hold in the long term. And then once you achieve that, very large volumes and liquidity through capital, people bringing in liquidity and capital will be willing to participate. And then he closes it by saying, build the next generation of finance, not corposlop. We just discussed what this means. Not things that you're being exploited of, not things that it's me against you. There is always a winner and a loser. Why can't we build the next generation of finance where it's a win-win? Where people are willing to hold it in the long term. They're happy to hold it. People that are buying it are happy to hold it. Something that is sustainable. Something that is actually people want to hold. Something that is actually growing my wealth. Does this sound familiar? What he's talking about, community, is back to fundamentals. You want an ecosystem. You want a platform that is sustainable, that gives you sustainable yield, that is stable. And the way you bring stability is by having a staking platform. And the more it's staked, the more stable it is. The more it's staked, the more secure it is. And then you want this staking platform to have a burning mechanism that is actually reducing its supply. If you combine staking and burning, not only do you get stability, but because through the burning, you're lifting the floor, meaning you're now holding an asset that is growing in value. And if you use your volume and liquidity efficiently by retaining liquidity and attracting traders, you'll keep burning the supply, shrinking your supply even more, raising the price floor. You'll keep increasing the volume, the liquidity, attracting even more traders, because the traders now trust that they can get in and out of the trade because there's liquidity. And because of there's a lot of traders, the stakers are happy too, because the more trades are happening, the more USDC distributions through staking rewards are in. And that will attract more stakers. The more stakers, the more stable the asset becomes. And this attracts holders. And if you're just here to hold, you're not here to trade or to stake, you just want to hold, you're also at peace, because you see the high volume, and the volume attracts stakers. Stakers bring stability. And burning also increases the value of the token that you're holding. So it attracts the holder, it attracts the stakers, it attracts the traders. And there is no me against you. The staker doesn't have to win and the trader loses. If the trader wins, the holder doesn't lose. So there are no losers. Or there is no winner and then losers. This is exactly what Vitalik is talking about. And this is what he means here when he's talking about, let's focus on building the next generation of finance, not an exploit of users. You can do that, but you have to understand the industry. You have to understand the challenges in the industry, and you have to address these challenges. And he's laying it right in front of our eyes and literally telling us what Ethereum is all about. Ethereum wants to unite. Instead of having the Swiss franc, the dollar, the euro, the yen, the yuan, the shilling, you actually can have one common asset that grows your wealth, that actually people want to hold, that gives you interest sustainably, and that you're happy to hold long term. You're happy, literally happy to hold long term. And if you can have an asset like that, you will attract large volume, large liquidity, and willing participants. And this is how you build the next generation of finance, and not exploits. And this is what our Bullrun ecosystem is all about, community. We are here to retain liquidity, to attract traders. Traders bring volume. Volume reduce the supply. Reduced supply combined with staking means increase in value. And the more traders are trading, it will attract more stakers. And the more stakers stake, it will attract more holders, because you bring stability. Burning increases the value. Volume is used efficiently to retain even more liquidity, and the cycle repeats itself. Now you have yourself an asset that is stable, that is sustainable, that grows your wealth, and that gives you a cash flow, unlimited cash flow. This is what Vitalik is talking about. And this is what he's talking about, that we should focus on building on Ethereum. And our ecosystem, we just celebrated last year, November, 3 years already. So we've already built something like that. It's already existing. All we're doing now is to educate about it. So the message of today is that Vitalik himself is pushing for developers and participants to navigate towards the next generation of finance that is being built. Now, my question to you, community, is, are you part of an ecosystem that has built the next generation of finance and that is not exploiting building something that is built on foundation, it's built on exploitation, that there must be a loser. For every winner, there must be losers. That's not how we want to use our ecosystem. That's not how we want to use this technology. We don't want to be, this should not be the end game of this industry. That's not what we want. And this is how you address the liquidity challenge, which is the biggest challenge that is faced with in the prediction markets, by developing something that people actually want to hold. An asset, not just something, an asset that people want to hold, an asset that gives you interest in a sustainable way and grows your wealth. And once you can achieve that, and people actually happy to hold long term, once you achieve that, you will attract large volume, large liquidity, and large participants. And that's how you build the next generation of finance and avoid being exploited. And because you're desperate and you're being taken advantage of. So community, that's the message for today. I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your weekend. Till we meet again. Bye-bye, everyone.